Greetings to all of my loved ones. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Wisdom with me, Empress Oracle, your favorite realist, and of course, sexy spiritual advisor. Now, on behalf of Starseed Galactic Federation, I have been given access to this knowledgeable information from my Akashic records for the purpose of helping humanity. This information has been given directly to me as a divine channel, and any use and or reproduction without the proper acknowledgement from where it was received will result in instant karma for the plagiarizing parties and their individuals. And so it is. Now, I'm out of breath, y'all. Whew. I feel fat today, y'all. I'm out of breath like a motherfucker because I was running up and down the steps. That's not what we're here to talk about. Just had to, I like to give TMI sometimes, but back at the ranch. So today, I want to talk to you guys about my strange fuckboy addiction and how I overcame it. And the reason why I said my strange fuckboy addiction and not strange fuck nigga addiction, because that's the true term that we like to use, all right, not with the hard R, is because Big Mama don't discriminate. I've been with a little bit of everything and everybody throughout my 41 luscious years on this earth, and I can tell you that fuckboys do not come in a particular race or size, all right? That is a blanket terminology for all the guys that just don't act right, that self-sabotage in good relationships, okay? I'm going to tell you about it. Now, first and foremost, let me start off by saying I'm not bashing anybody. If you are in your season of fuck boy or fuck girlery, kudos to you. Everybody goes through phases in life, and sometimes you have to go through something to grow through something. And a lot of times, especially if you have a purpose, especially if you are put here on this earth to learn certain lessons, the best way for you to learn that lesson is to be on both sides of the spectrum. So that's having been involved with a fuck person and at some point in time being one yourself. A lot of times, I'm not saying that just you can't change, because change is very possible and change is good. However, what I have come to learn in my 41 luscious years on this earth is that you cannot change anybody. And people, first and foremost, they have to be willing to take accountability for their actions. They have to be, their perception has to be unfiltered, right? And unobliterated by their ego, which means they can be honest with themselves and real with themselves about their actions, even if it's not while they're doing the actions. Afterwards, when they see the destruction their actions are caused, they can hold themselves accountable and be like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. And that can induce change in people. However, it does not matter how much you love somebody. It does not matter how good you treat somebody. It does not matter how much you try to show somebody that you are worthy of the love and the attention that you have given them. If they're not willing to reciprocate, if they want to continue with their shenanigans, that's what they're going to do. All right. And I'm going to tell you, it took me almost 30 years to figure that out for one person. So guys, don't be like me. However, my experience, I'm going to tell you, I did not even realize for the longest what the source of my attraction to certain types of fuckboys, what I'm going to say, the people who leave a trail of tears and broken hearts in their way, the ones who come and gaslight you and love bomb you. And then when it's time for them to step up, they have no consistency. Their commitment was all talk, and then they leave you. You ignore all of the red flags and get your feelings hurt in the long run. You sucker, you fall for the looks, the charm, the material things. Those, in a sense, are technically what makes a fuck person, because they have no true substance to themselves. And even if they do, they rather keep that to themselves or show it to their homies instead of the person, that they're copulating with, that they're having sex with. I'm sorry for all the big terms. My bad. I'm very smart. But yeah. So I started recognizing a pattern. It was as though I was attracting the same energy, but just in different bodies. And something that I learned along my spiritual journey is that you will attract certain energies when you put out certain signals, when your mind is a certain way, when you choose to ignore certain things, okay, and when you put out a certain energy to people that some people, when they're not raised with love and when they don't understand love, they can misconstrue that energy of love for vulnerability and take advantage of that. And I was putting out that energy to people because the fact that essentially I grew up around fuck boys and fuck girls, if I want to be honest, it just took me a long time to realize that. Now, just because somebody, is horrible in relationships, they could be a fuck boy or fuck girl, but they can maintain a job and be an upstanding citizen of society. That doesn't mean that you're just all around a fuck person. So therefore, that caused me not to realize that a lot of the people around me, a lot of the people that I gave my time, my energy to, were fuck people until it was too late. Okay, because at certain times I categorize, oh no, this person's not like that. They have a good job. They're getting money, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. But if they're not treating you the way that you know that you deserve, and if they're not properly reciprocating to you, it's going to drain you. Essentially, eventually, you will be pouring from an empty cup, because any healthy relationship with anybody has to have reciprocity. You guys need to give to each other. It needs to be a balance and exchange of energies. And I was missing that. And at some point, that's when the empath and narcissist dynamic, that's when the empath and narcissist dynamic starts to build in people's lives. And a lot of times people don't realize that. And then you end up just as an empath, because you feel as though you understand people, you don't focus on the part where they're not treating you well. You choose to glorify the good. But what we have to understand is that life is made out of pros and cons. You have to weigh the good with the bad. You have to. And you have to realize nobody is perfect, but the good should always outweigh the bad. And if somebody is not feeding and pouring into you energetically, especially in a relationship, you have to love yourself more. And it took me a very long time not to love myself, because I've always loved myself, but to love myself more than the love that I was pouring into people who could not even love themselves. So therefore, there was absolutely no way that they could love me. They were used to that expression of love hurts. Love is not supposed to hurt. It's not. Unless you just think about how much you love somebody and your heart feels like it's bursting with joy, that, then you might need to see a cardiologist also. However, it should not hurt. It should not hurt you physically. It should not hurt you mentally. It should not hurt you emotionally. If love hurts you in any form of those ways, that's abuse. And that's what people have to understand, right? And unfortunately, what I have also come to realize is that a lot of people who are fuck boys or fuck girls, they are just products of their environment. That half of the time, that's not even truly them. But because they grew up seeing people act that way, or they grew up and they did not have a proper father figure or a proper mother figure, okay, or they saw their parental figures taking less than, or accepting less than from others, and just dealing with it, they thought that that was normal, and they thought that that was okay. So they start enacting that on other people. And at some point, we have to establish healthy boundaries within ourselves to say, no, that's not okay. You're never too old to relearn how to treat somebody. And the thing is, people have to understand that we have to stop having so much pride. If you don't know how to be in a proper relationship, if you don't know how to be in a healthy relationship, but there's somebody that you want to be with, tell them, communicate, work on it. People have too much pride. They have too much ego nowadays, and they're killing their relationships. Fortunately, we're in the point of life where people from my generation on down are tired of growing up in broken homes. We're tired of having our hearts broken. So we're willing to do that extra work to make sure to break those cycles and those generational curses that were passed down from seeing our mothers and fathers treated that way. That's why we accept that fuckery. That's why, me personally, I realized that I started accepting fuckboys because that's when I first started dating. My first love was a fuckboy. That's all I knew. And I didn't even realize it until I got this old. I started realizing the pattern, seeing the same energy in everybody else, right? And me being a bleeding heart, I'm like, oh, I see something in them. They're really a good person. It took a long time for me to realize, believe what people show you. When people show you who they truly are, believe them. Stop believing in people's potential. Because if people believed in their own potential, they would be moving in it. And sometimes that's just a hard pill for us to swallow, especially as women, especially as feminine energies. We don't even have to be in a woman's body, a feminine energy. So that's like water signs, all that type shit. You feel me? And it's sad, but it's true. However, I'm going to tell you, once I started identifying those feelings and identifying the energies, it started making me kind of step back. And that's why I started taking longer and longer bouts of celibacy. I said bouts like it's a fucking fight, illness. You know what I mean? That's why I started being celibate for longer and longer. Okay? I was celibate one time for almost a decade, and so many people don't believe me. I'm celibate now, about to be on year 2. I've spent most of my adult life celibate after I joined the military. But anywho, that's not the point. Once you start realizing these patterns, it's up to you to break it. Just like if you have a habit, it takes consistency to break a habit. It takes consistency to break those patterns, because you have to understand, energy never dies. It can be reconfigured, it can be remodeled, it can be reassembled, okay? So that's why you can attract the same energy. You may grow from experience, but then, like I said, you're emitting those frequencies, those energetic frequencies that's going to attract the same kind of people to you. Or if you're used to that, those mannerisms, you're going to be attracted to that because it's what you're used to. It's what you're comfortable with. But just because you're comfortable with something does not mean that it is good for you, right? And in this day and age, a lot of people are getting stuck in their comfort level, which is not where they're supposed to be. If it's uncomfortable, do it. Change is good, I tell you guys. People are too comfortable with the bare minimum. People have gotten used to the generational patterns of fuckery. You have to, sometimes you just gotta face the forest for the trees, goddamn, whatever the saying, y'all know what I'm saying. Sometimes you just have to do that and be real with yourself. Right? And it took me a very long time to realize that. I had to really, really go within and do some serious shadow work. And shadow work is when you really have a talk with yourself. You really go within. You look at the good and the bad. You hold yourself accountable. You look at your toxic traits, your toxic patterns, and really identify the source of the issue. And you address that shit. And I had to. And you know, it's never too late. And I just wanted to spread that message with you guys, because it does get addictive. The toxicity gets addictive. The drama gets addictive. The toxic sex gets addictive. It makes life feel like it's a movie. That's why I said it's my strange fuckboy addiction. But really, it's not healthy, and it's not good for you. It's draining. And in the end, you end up with nothing. Nothing but a broken heart and a wet ass. Feel me? We got to stop. I stopped. It's you guys' turn now. All right? I love you guys, and I want the best for you. Addiction is hard. And a lot of people might think that me saying a fuckboy addiction is a joke, but no, you can be addicted to anything. You can. And so many people are addicted to toxicity, not realizing that you're wasting your time. You're wasting, I'm not even going to say the best years of your life, because every year of your life should be the best year of your life because you're alive. Period. But you're wasting a lot of time that you could have put into yourself. A lot of time pouring into people who would never reciprocate. Imagine if you poured all that love, time, and energy into yourself, where you would be. Instead of pouring it into somebody who didn't value it and wasted it, or took your love and gave it to somebody else. Like what happened to me so many times. Don't be a dumbass like I was. And if you were a dumbass, stop now. Don't be a dumbass for as long as I was. a quarter of a damn century. You guys don't do that. I want better for all of you. All right. I tell you guys my healing wisdom because this is lessons that I learned and I healed from. And if I could save somebody from that pain, that heartache, I will. I went through it so y'all don't have to. So please, love yourself more. I'm not saying love yourself because I'm sure you love yourself, babes. But love yourself more. Okay? I love you all. Please check out the rest of my videos and have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.